Hello, welcome back to the Villa View for a match preview for Saturday's game against Sheffield Wednesday at Villa Park. Good news, One Football have asked to sponsor us again, so they're back in for the November fixture. So here's Dan Rolinson to go over some stats from the One Football app.
Don't forget that you can download the One Football app by clicking the link in the description. So what we're going to do today is have a quick look at the league table. I think it's the first time we've probably had a look at the league table in depth. So we'll head over to the Championship, and as we can see, Wolves still top of the tree, 32 points. Cardiff in second with 31. Aston Villa now fifth in the league with 26 points, so just 5 points outside the top two. We played 15, scored 21 goals, conceding just 13, with a goal difference of +8. We're now inside the playoffs by 3 points, so at least a point on Saturday will ensure that we remain in the top 6. Looking at some of the other fixtures this weekend then. Wolves play Fulham later today. Derby County, who are in 6th, play Reading at home. And Bristol City host Cardiff City in a massive game at the top of the table. So Sheffield Wednesday go into this game on a mini unbeaten run, drawn 1, won the last game. How do you see this game going, Dan?
I felt better until I realised that they actually won in midweek. They were on a bit of a bad run. Before then, the manager's coming under a bit of pressure. So, in typical what feels like typical Villa fashion, a team's actually won a game just before they're about to play us. But we dispatched them last year when we were no great shakes, and they ended up in the playoff picture. We beat them 2-0 at Villa Park. So I see no reason why we can't go and win again, especially the form we're on at the moment. We look pretty formidable. So it's a game I'm actually really looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. I think one thing I wanted to touch on, I don't know whether you spoke about this in the podcast, is that when we played Fulham at home a few weeks ago and beat them, you said that that was the best 3 points we'll get all season. I actually think that the Preston win is better than that. I thought that we were so good away. There was one point in the commentary when they were talking about a good away performance from Villa, and I sort of almost forgot how bad we've been away, and on Sky as well. That sort of seems to have just vanished now. So going into this game, I'm pretty excited for once.
I think the away form's picked up in general. Obviously, we've only lost one game in 12, so we must have pulled some results together away from home. I stand by that. I still think the Fulham 3 points is a better 3 points because we just lost to Wolves the week before, so everyone was expecting the worst with that one. Fulham being a good side, a team that can beat anyone on the day, although they've not had a great start. So I just think the fact that we bounced back so quickly from losing to Wolves and got a win in the column straight after that defeat, I just think that was more important. Obviously, then we've come off the back of a 0-0 with Birmingham and that win against Fulham to beat a depleted Preston. Although I think that was a very good 3 points and 3 points we wouldn't have got last season, I still think the Fulham one, it just shades it for me. So
going into this game, Sheffield Wednesday have only won 1 on the road this season. Do you think that they've got much chance at Villa Park, seeing as it's been a little bit of a fortress of late?
I mean, they're a decent team on paper. You look at some of the players they've got. So there's always a chance anything can happen. Obviously, Villa could get a man sent off in the first 10 minutes and then you're going to be in big trouble. But I've just got a real confidence in the Villa team at the moment. Who we've got a real inner steel now that I really enjoy watching. The players are putting their body on the line on Wednesday. There's a real determination, and as I said in the podcast, we've got a bunch of players now that whatever happens this season, they're really playing for the shirt. They really want to get Aston Villa up the league and out the Championship. If we win this game, it sets us up nicely going into the international break, because I think we've got winnable games after the international break. I think we've got a decent run of fixtures. I think 3 of our next 4 games are at home. So the way we've been at Villa Park, it is a fortress now. We very seldom lose there. Even last season, we very rarely lost. So I've got a really good feeling for this game, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Like you say, 3 of the 4 are at home. I would back us to win at home against anyone pretty much now. So if you do end this month where you've won all 3 at home, you've already beat Preston, and it's only one other away game in November. I reckon you might be in the top 2 by the start of December.
Yeah, I think the same. I think November, going into Christmas, we'll know a lot about what Aston Villa's season is going to be like by the end of November. If we're up towards the top 2, which I think we will be if we get the results that I think we could in November, the top 2 will lose games, so we'll be very much up there at the end of the month. So I think that by the end of November, we'll know whether Villa are going to be playoff contenders, whether we're looking to just stay in the top 6 this season, or whether we are going to push towards that top 2 and challenge for a top 2 place.
We'll go on to team news now. From my point of view, I don't think you can change a winning team. Neil Taylor's suspension's over now, and it was against Preston as well. Hutton retained his place. I think there was a few grumbles on social media, but he proved why Bruce was right to start him. Do you think he sticks with Hutton at left back again?
I spoke about this in the podcast. We spoke about Alan Hutton. He is like a cat with 9 lives. Every time you think he's gone, he comes back, and credit to him because his bounce back ability is unreal. He's so resilient, and he's done well at left back. I was saying to Tom that I think he actually has to concentrate more when he's at left back than he does at right back, and I think that helps him. And I think also with John Terry playing left centre back, I think he can't fail but to be in the right place. Maybe that's doing Hutton a disservice, but I think John Terry's such a good organiser and he's got such high standards. He doesn't settle for people not tracking the man, not being in the right place. So I think maybe that helps Hutton, because I think if he's had one flaw in his game over the last few years, I don't always think his positional sense has been spot on, but he's done very, very well at left back. He was one of our best players against Preston. I actually thought he was going to end up scoring. He deserves to keep his place in the team because he's done nothing wrong. But long term, I think Neil Taylor is the Aston Villa left back, and he'll end up getting his place back. A worry I've got is that we've played 3 games in 6 days by the time the Sheffield Wednesday's game is over. So I think there does need to be an element of rotation. It wouldn't surprise me to see Grealish in from the start if Codger's not fit, because I think Onaman might be struggling with an injury. So it wouldn't surprise me to see Grealish come in and get 60, 70 minutes and O'Hare come on and replace him for the 20 minutes after that, because he's done well in the under-23s.
I think you mentioned John Terry's importance there. I think he probably deserves his own video at this point. I don't feel we've spoke about him that much. I remember you saying a while ago that he's sort of almost a little bit nervousness as winning the crowd over and all those sort of things, and now he seems to have really settled into Villa. Yeah,
it's completely changed now. He is now exactly what I hoped and kind of expected he would be. He's a phenomenal footballer, and he's a formidable footballer, and he has such high standards that he just makes everyone around him better. You can just see that he's a class act. Even in the post-match interview on Sky after the Preston game with Keenan Davis, you could just tell that Keenan Davis looked up to him, and then the aura that John Terry's got. And I'm excited. I know I keep harping on about Grealish. Obviously, I'm a big champion of Grealish, but I just think even what John Terry can give people like Grealish, Davis off the pitch is going to be invaluable for Villa going forward.
Another player that we both spoke about on WhatsApp as we were watching the game is the importance of Glenn Whelan. I know he's had a lot of, I suppose, doubters, people that maybe don't rate him, but to sort of coin the cliche, he does that dirty work and the unseen work. And I think when managers continue to pick players like him, and obviously his teammates obviously will all appreciate what he does, I think someone like him really sort of is one of the big cogs of why we're doing so well.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think a 4-4-2 suited his natural game, but I think the way with the midfield we're playing at the moment, we're kind of the 3, although Onaman's been playing a little bit more advanced. I think that suits Whelan because he's got legs around him. I don't think it's any coincidence that the last 2 games have been on telly, and we've kept 2 clean sheets away from home, which obviously helps. But I think it's just been highlighted. The work he's done has been highlighted a bit more by the pundits and the commentators, the people that aren't lucky enough to make the games. I don't think Whelan's doing much different to what he's been doing the whole season when he's been playing. I just think it's been noticed more in these last 2 games because we've kept 2 away clean sheets. And as I say, the game was on telly. I think he's been excellent the last 2, but I think he's been very good, especially off the ball throughout the campaign.
Would you be tempted to play Jedinak and Whelan as a 2 and then Horahan as the further forward midfielder instead of somebody like Grealish coming in?
I think Steve Bruce might be tempted to do that, but it probably wouldn't be what I do. I quite like the thought at the moment of Jedinak or Whelan, the other one coming on to solid things up like Jedinak has done the last 2 games. To have a sub like Jedinak to bring on, you could just see both games now, the last 2 away games, it's calmed us down, it's shored things up. And I think Chester said something about when Jedinak plays, he never even has to head the ball. Yeah. I just like the Jedinak coming on, and I think again like this Sheffield Wednesday, if Whelan's fit enough to play, because I think 3 games in 6 days is a big ask. To have Jedinak to bring on for him is a good option depending on how the game's going, because I don't think Whelan will last 90 minutes.
We'll go through the predicted lineup then. Who do you think will be starting for us this weekend?
I think it'll be Sam Johnston in goal, El Mohammadi right back, Hutton left back, Chester and Terry centre backs. I'm then going to go for Whelan and Horahan in central midfield with Grealish just in front of them, and I think, as I say, he'll come off for O'Hare at some point. This is based on me thinking Onaman's not going to be fit, by the way. Snodgrass on the right, Adoma on the left, and Davis up front. I don't see Horahan as an advanced midfielder personally. I see him as a box-to-box midfielder. I think that's the best way of utilising his strong points. I've seen a lot of people push for Horahan as a number 10. I don't particularly see that, if I'm being honest.
I think he is a box-to-box midfielder, like you say. I think if you've got Jedinak and Whelan behind you, you can focus on Horan's attacking ability and just let him have the freedom to go on and play.
I think our wingers do a lot of dirty work as well. Snodgrass and Adoma, they both get back. I think if you were playing with more conventional wingers who just like to come forward, I'd agree with you. But I think because our wingers actually do a lot of defensive work as well, I think Horan's already got enough freedom to get forward. I just think Jedinak and Whelan would be too negative at home. I'd like to see us play on the front foot. And I just think Grealish is a naturally fit lad. And he's probably got 60 or 70 minutes in him, bearing in mind he did actually get a pre-season as well when he returned from England under 21 duty, and he was going to start the season. I think Grealish has got enough in the tank for 60, 70 minutes. I think he made 2 or 3 goals in the last under 23s game. I've got a sneaky suspicion he might be thrown in from the start, but I've been wrong before. So as longest serving presenter, I'm going to do my prediction first. I'm going to go with 1-0. 1-0 to Villa, with us hanging on a bit at the end, as we so often do. At home, goal scorer, I'm going to go for Keenan Davis to get his first goal at Villa Park. So yeah, 1-0 Villa. Rollo, what are you going for prediction-wise?
No, it's a little bit of a difficult one. I feel like I said earlier that I always back Villa at home now, so I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to go 2-0. Same scoreline that we beat them at home last year.
So the Villa View podcast was released earlier this morning on YouTube, iTunes and SoundCloud. So please go and check that out if you haven't done so already. Tom, Julian and myself are in the usual booth talking all things Villa, pretty much a review of the Preston game in the main. So go back and have a look at that if that floats your boat.
A couple of the questionable decisions from last night. You had the James Chester penalty shout.
Penalty.
Penalty?
Yeah, but I think because the way the ball moved...
Yeah, it did look...
We got away with it.
Yeah.
It looked like he got the ball because of the direction the ball travelled in. Yeah. But that was a penalty. Comment below with your predictions and thoughts ahead of the Sheffield Wednesday game. We love hearing your opinions and we'll try and interact with as many of you as is humanly possible. Also, if you could give the video a like, that helps the channel grow. So please do that if you can. I'll be outside the Holt End doing fan cams after the game. So hopefully we'll all be talking about an Aston Villa win. I'd love to speak to as many of you as possible. So come down and have your say on the Villa View if you can. Thanks very much to One Football for backing this video, and thanks to everyone who watches our stuff. We really, really appreciate it. Stick with the channel, stick with the Villa, up the Villa. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.